As you look back at your accomplishments at ASU, is there one or are there several that you think back that gave you a lot of satisfaction?
Well, I think the development of the hiring of faculty. I mean, we were hiring 30 to 50 faculty a year, which was quite an enterprise. And we had worked hard to heighten our national stature and attract really good people. And of course, they should be attracted here. It's a great place to live. That was a challenge. We hired a very diverse faculty, women and minorities, especially during those years. We advertised nationally as well for professional couples or pairs, as we called them.
I remember we had an ad one year in the Chronicle where we had all the combinations that were available.
Yeah, and that got a lot of national attention, attracted a lot of couples and partners of various types who came here and left other universities, often, you know, both professional and linked in some ways. That was novel, and the way we did our search practicing was different than it had been in the past, collegial but very focused. We had some rules and regulations. We tried to professionalize the search process and get focused on hiring criteria, not just, you know, who people liked or knew, but on what impact they would have on each
other. And that was quite a shock for some of the departments.
Well, it was, because, as I said, some places were used to just kind of hiring people like they are. And that's always the comfortable thing.
And acquaintances, people they knew.
Sure, you know, and that's a comfortable thing to do, but it doesn't advance the field, and it doesn't, you know, it can if it's the right cluster of people, but I would rather do that purposefully and in a planful way, and we held funds out in order to get that done. So departments had to compete for funds, not only to enhance diversity, but to build in those fields we had identified in our strategic plan: materials science and solid state science, biotechnology, environmental science, some areas of the humanities, international and study abroad, and things like that. So you know, we had some focus points, so we actually strategically made funds available, but sometimes on a competitive basis. If a department could produce someone from a search in X field that was a focus and a high priority for us, they would get the money.
Would you like to say a little bit about the retreats and the various ways that you went about trying to build that leadership potential, including attracting outside talent?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I always thought that it was very important for academics to be in leadership positions. That may be more novel these days. Many university presidents are not academics, for example, and of course it was critically important that we do that in terms of the functioning of the academic departments. We needed to have chairs act like chairs, and they could still represent their faculty, they could represent the views of their fields, etc., but they needed to be leaders. And if we were going to make decentralization work, they needed to handle a lot of problems and a lot of challenges. So building the department chairs' capacities was very important. We sent, in fact, we took chairs to American Council on Education seminars. We taught them some things about planning, about fundraising. In an annual retreat setting, we spent time addressing issues and challenges. We asked the chairs to share with each other how they solve problems. You and I, and primarily you, wrote a very interesting compendium of case studies that were, you know, was only slightly disguised from reality.
There was lots of interesting material, wasn't there?
There was always lots of interesting stuff, and so, and that was a very useful kind of Harvard-like case study practice that we used in the college, and asked the department chairs to lead panels or conversations about how they would solve these particular challenges, knowing that they had existed elsewhere in the college. Some knew about them, some didn't know about them, but it was important for us to get department chairs, particularly those that were doing a little bit better with their leadership skills, to teach others, and that helped build a collegial environment.